So this is just a quick video. It's mid-February now and I'm just going to show you 5 things that I'm planting for here on the holding. So the first thing this time of year is broad beans. So I've got some broad beans left over from last year. I lost all my winter broad beans in the cold weather before Christmas. So I'm starting again, planting some broad beans. Bunyard's exhibition, these are left over from last year. And what I'm also trying this year, first time, and this is after seeing a video on Hugh Richards' channel, is field beans. Now, I've known about field beans as a green manure, and when I used to work as a gamekeeper and was on all the farms and that, they used to grow field beans, and I just kind of thought they were like for animal fodder, you know, like an animal feed crop. But apparently they're pretty nice to eat. I've done a bit of research after watching Hugh's video, and the yield looks like it's about double what you get from broad beans. A little bit more finicky, sort of more shelling of the peas. Obviously the peas are smaller, so you've got to sit there and do a bit more shelling and that, but I don't mind that too much, you know. It's quite a relaxing thing to do, really. So yeah, slightly smaller beans, as you can see, but it's just something I'm going to try this year, see how they do. Same sort of planted exactly the same way. So obviously you can sow these direct outdoors, about 2 inches deep, about 9 inches apart in rows. I do them about a foot apart. They say up to about 18 inches apart, but I do them a foot and they seem to be fine. But I'm not actually going to plant them direct. I'm going to try them this year in my tree trainers. So 45 sows per tray, nice deep trays, because beans have a nice, broad beans have a nice long strong tap root. So you want things a little bit deep, trays a little bit deeper. So that's number one, broad beans and field beans. And I will show later on in the year how the field beans have done on, you know, a little comparison. Number two is onion sets. So I've got a few different types actually this year. I've got some red onions and I've got some shallots for pickled onions. These are stir-on. I grow stir-on from seed as well, which I'll show you in a minute. But the onion sets I do in these little cell trays, and I'll just start them off. I just push them in nice and firm, and I wait until they've filled that with roots, and then I plant that out with a little cell of roots, and it just makes them have a bit of a head start when you plant them out, makes them hold in the ground a little bit, so that the birds don't pull them out quite so much, and it just gives them a bit of a head start. So that's the onion sets go in these little cells. If you're doing shallots, they tend to be quite a bigger bulb, and so I do them in my trays here with 7cm pots. So I just pop one per pot, and just give them a little bit more room because they don't really sit very well in these small trays. Number three is onions from seed. So you can obviously do start your salad onions now. I do in the beds over there. I do rows of salad onions, but I also grow stir-on from seed. Stir-on is turning out to be probably my favourite onion. It just seems to store really well, and the onion itself is a nice onion. So I've done these 2 ways in the past. You can either do them in rows in a bed, obviously under cover this time of year, and then when they're of a size that they can be transplanted out, you just lift them gently, sort of tease the roots apart. You can put them in a bit of water, a bit like leeks really, and just tease them apart and plant them out. But this year I'm actually going to do them in a little cell tray, in a little half tray, and just bring them on under cover in here, and they'll then be divided and planted out. And with all the onions, seed grown or sets, I put them probably about 4 or 5 inches apart in every direction, basically, just to give them enough room to make a nice big bulb. I have also multi-sown stir-on into these little 7cm pots, about sort of 3 or 4 seeds a pot, and that works as well. So you know, either way is fine. Number, where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4 is peas. So again, these are some leftover seeds from last year, Meteor. I just use these little cell trays, little mini cells. I think they're 30 cc's of size compost, and these are Meteor shoots. So this time of year you can grow them for shoots. You can pick the shoots as they grow and have them as a green. I'm actually going to let these come on for podding peas. These are a dwarf pea. They get to about 2 foot tall. So what I'll do is I'll wait for these to fill the cell until they're up a couple of 3 inches, something like that, looking nice and healthy, and then I'll plant them out. And and I'll put little hazel sticks for support. So they don't need much more than that really, because they're only getting a couple of foot tall. So a few hazel sticks down just to give them some support to cling to, and they're fine. And then lastly, number 5, I'm putting a few carrots in, early Nance carrots, but I'm only doing this undercover. I wouldn't plant them this early outside. I did it last year for the first time in this polytunnel, and they did really well. So I'm just going to put a few rows in the raised bed over there, 1/2 inch deep, nice and thin. And then because I'm harvesting them probably sort of little carrots about this sort of size, I'll thin them to about 1 inch apart, maybe even less than that, and you know, they kind of push each other apart if they get a little bit crowded, but I don't like to thin them too much. Obviously you get carrot fly the more that you thin. So yeah, quite simply, that's 5 things that I'm getting in mid-February. Obviously it will vary depending on where you are in the world, but for me here in the UK, this is what I'm doing undercover this time of year. Take it easy, guys.